Yeah, thanks, Sam. We're going to start with the Collingwood v Adelaide game. It's going to be huge at the Adelaide Oval on Thursday night, the first qualifying final. I want to start back, I think, a number of weeks ago, Jimmy, where Collingwood started like a house on fire. And it was this ball movement that really troubled the Adelaide Crows. So when we look at it, their first quarter was their best quarter, and they moved it really, really well. So as they build up here, what you want to do to the Adelaide Crows, their defence is unbelievable, the Adelaide Crows. So you look at these two players, Nick Murray and Keane. You want to have their backs away from goal, and as you do, you see the way they hold out their shape, the pies, lower their eyes. They did that really well in the first quarter. Bit of chaos footy, but after that, it just turned to this. So the score just become an arm wrestle, and this is what the Adelaide Crows do like, Jimmy, which Collingwood didn't give them early, but they got comfortable and they defended 71 entries.
Yeah, they slowed them down from behind the mark. But for me, Lloydie, Collingwood just absolutely shelled the Crows. Those 70 entries. So probably the next layer for the Crows, my apologies, is how do you get yourself out of that back line and out of that back 50? You can't just keep taking inside forward 50s as we're watching, and you touched on. So you can't keep having numbers flood back, because eventually some of these ones might actually land in hands of Collingwood players and they start to rack up the score and you get camped behind the footy. So you'd love to see pushing up to these areas, that quick release mark. You know, could it be a Curtin? Could it be a Keys as a high half forward, or one of the big boppers on the forward line? Is it Thilthorpe or Big Fog or Walker? Just take that release mark. It can be just a little 15-metre kick boundary side. So if you miss it, you get a boundary throw, which is not too bad. But then you get everyone set up and you get back up into the game.
Because you're saying, Jimmy, if they concede Adelaide another 71 in, they won't win that game, will they?
No, I don't imagine so. I think eventually the weight of numbers Collingwood would get you if you give up that many.
Now, selection dilemmas. So let's take a look at some decisions that have to be made. So Beau McCreery, you pick him, don't you, if he's fit?
If he's fit. He's that high-energy player. Good things happen. He works, pretty much 150 metres up and down the ground. Who replaces Jeremy Howe?
Well, I'm big on McStay maybe going back here. Rather than Charlie Dean, I wouldn't go back to Charlie Dean. So McStay can go back. Mason Cox can play in the forward line. And the last one, McStay, again, I think he's in their best 23.
I want to ask you, you always say you need finals experience to really go all the way. The Crows, they're finally into it. Can they get over the Pies?
Yeah, I think they can. Yeah, I think being at home in front of that big crowd, Jimmy, I think it'll be enough to get them over the Magpies. What about you?
I think Collingwood by 2 points.
Jimmy, the second game we'll take a look at is obviously the big other qualifying finals. Geelong versus the Brisbane Lions. It's going to be an absolute cracker. Both teams in red-hot form. I think the Premier may well come out of this game. Whoever wins this will win the game. But how do you play Harris Andrews?
Well, the only two times I've seen the opposition play well against him in a big final. I know Frampton did a good job in the grand final. But look at this, how sad this COVID times, of course. But Ben Brown was able to get up, use those little tick leads, and he actually would start on the back shoulder. So this one here, he's on the back shoulder of Harris Andrews. So wait till the kicker's ready, and you can come up high, and then what that does, it takes away Harris Andrews from his key position, which is about 35 metres out from goal and dictating the game. This is another option here. So big Tim Tam Tom, he used to get the match up because he was physical, little tick lead. So this would be Cats, whether it maybe be Shannon Neal, if it's him. If it's Mark Blitzarves, he can play more the Ben Brown role. So he can do it in two different ways. If Blitzarves needs to go on the ruck, Neal come across. Just little tick leads, get back shoulder, because Harris Andrews can set up the game.
Brilliant vision, Jimmy. Here's the barometer for the Brisbane Lions in defence. Wanted to look at the last time they met, and I thought Brisbane, it was a masterclass by Chris Fagan when they beat Geelong in Geelong. And they're so measured, so they're getting a lot of uncontested marks. They picked the Fremantle Dockers apart recent weeks just by uncontested marks, and then they got one-on-one. So very measured. Don't bomb to Tom Stewart. Look at Henry behind the ball saying, kick it to me, kick it to me. They didn't allow it. They were really measured in what they did. They were smart, and then they'd go out to the open side again to a 1v1 where Eric Hipwood took the mark. Brilliant. And then they cut off all of Geelong's ball movement early. Wilmot come up as a half-back flanker. And game over it was at quarter time, Jimmy. 4-1. Geelong never recovered.
And Geelong have got a clean bill of health, though, Lloydie. So are they firing a little bit better, even though the Lions can beat you in many different ways?
Oh, it's a great position to be. Gee, they do it well, Geelong. They've had players who just are always laid outs, and they're smart with the way they manage their players. So if they weren't playing Brisbane, I'd tip them against anybody else. But because I think Brisbane are the best team in the competition, I'm going the Brisbane Lions in this one.
I'm going to put my Cats pyjamas on and go the Cats, just.
Yeah, we'll look at the other two finals later on. We're going to look at the Giants versus the Hawthorn elimination final, Jimmy, and the key for me is Finn Callaghan. I think he's the best player for the Giants, and his best mate Marcus Windhager played on him in the last game of the year, and he was brilliant. I still thought he fought through it so well, Finn Callaghan. So, you know, I think Connor Nash is the man that must go to him. So you see Marcus Windhager there. So even at centre bounce, he's become an inside-outside player. So they're the ones. Look at Marcus Windhager. He gets everyone. He gets scalps, but his ability to push him under the contest and then break away, outstanding. So Nash, do your best at trying to chase and harass him. He doesn't seem to get flustered too much.
No, and you're right with Nash because he's got the physicality. He's actually deceptively really big, Finn Callaghan. So he can stand up in tackles, and he, as you mentioned, he runs and overlaps really, really well, and he drives the ball forward, and a great combination with Green. But for me, Lloydie, is we talk about the Orange Tsunami and the way the Giants have been playing their football, and it's transition. So it's your transition versus our transition, and this has been the big improvement for the Hawks when they got back into form. They've got their transition game and tempo off the back of their high forward. So you think the Little Wizard, of course, Moore as well, All-Australian, of course, in the previous year, the way they're out overlap, and Ginnivan as well, who's in sensational form. So when you got those three who are starting up at half-back and launching the football, you think their matchup's going to be Whitfield and Ash. And what do they want to do? They want to actually generate ball from half-back. So it's going to be a fascinating watch of how much space those two half-backs for the Giants give those small forwards, because they can both springboard from each other's half-back line.
Both teams have gun smalls everywhere, don't they? Darcy Jones, I love. Toby Green, the work. So who wins for this one, Jimmy?
Who are you going to go?
I'm going the Hawks.
Yeah, I'll go the Giants.
Giants, so 0-8. 0-8 in this round, but I'm tipping the Hawks still.
Can't wait for Lord
to see. Surely
Come
we
on,
tip
Jimmy.
the same in the next one. So it's Fremantle at home off a huge win v the Dogs against the Gold Coast Suns. And Darcy and Jackson, yes, I haven't been the biggest fan of that, but I think they can run Big Witsy, who's a workhorse, into the ground, and Luke Jackson's ability to run. Like, he's a ruck rover. So here he is against the Sydney Swans, and he just pushes Laddams, he's up against here, but his ability to leave the ruck and just push forward and challenge every ruckman that he's playing on is massive. And this one again, he's even behind Briggs from the Giants, just leaves him in his wake. So unless you bumper bar him and push him, and he just does this to you. You got Darcy Cameron as well of the same. So I think the double teaming against Jared Witts could be too much. And this was him against the Dogs. Critical times, drifting forward. He's a real weapon for the Dockers.
Yeah, and while you're talking about tall weapons on the forward line, we know the other big three on the forward line, they can get a hold of you. Of course, Amos, and then you've got Tracy, and then you've got Voss. So we're going to the selection table, of course, the Gold Coast Suns, and they actually did a pretty good job last time they played. So Mac Andrew played one of his best games of the year on Tracy, keeping him goalless. Collins and Voss. Voss kicked 3 on Collins, and Hewlin was able to keep Amos to 1 goal. Of course, being a little bit undersized, he can float off. But let's go back to this Mac Andrew contest. I thought he actually got his bodying really well timed. So he bodied up Tracy really well and then used his long reach to then get the spoil in. At different times, he can get a bit far off and you know, he doesn't get actually the opportunity to use his athleticism. And then defended him really well in the lead. He was right up behind him and didn't give him much. So it was such an intriguing battle in what was a really close game up there at People's First Stadium. So that would probably be the matchups likely early in the game. Mac Andrew to Tracy, Collins probably takes Voss, and then Hewlin on Amos.
Jimmy, who has the better midfield? Fremantle or the Gold Coast Suns?
I think what Fremantle have been able to do at three-quarter time, where they've been able to fight back against opposition's good midfield, will keep them in good stead. So I'm going to tip the Dockers.
I'd love to say the Suns to go the opposite, but no, I'm tipping the Dockers as well.